Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming, and I'd like to call the first official meeting of our new elected 2024 to 2028 council to order. So before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting takes place in the traditional and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treaty people. Number 3, additions, deletions to agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda to add? Councilor Babineau?
Through the chair, I would like to request that we actually just move the order around in the closed session portion. So I'd like to make a motion to do that if we could. No additions or anything.
There's a motion to change the order around in camera. Is there a seconder? Seconded, Councilor Strong. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion carried, unanimous. So now we just need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Moved by the Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, I so move.
Seconded by Councilor Fullerton.
I'll second, yes.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion carried, unanimous. Approval of the minutes. So before we get on to the recommendation, Kayla has a few corrections to make.
Hi, so apologies for that. There are a couple of errors in the minutes for the approval of the agenda. The seconder should be Councillor Babineau and not Deputy Mayor Bailey. And then the motion to enter closed session, it should state that the mover was Councillor Strong and the seconder was Councillor Greek, not Babineau and Councillor Bailey as it's currently stated.
Thank you. So you heard the corrections in the minutes. Is someone prepared to move? The council approved the presented November 12th organizational meeting minutes as corrected. Moved by Councilor Babineau, seconded by Councilor Strong. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion carried, unanimous. Under number 6 on the agenda, presentations, we don't have any tonight. Under number 7, we have no public input or questions. A few people came in towards the end. If you didn't get a chance to sign up, if this is your time, if you want to speak, you get 3 minutes. If anyone wants to speak, just raise your hand. If not, okay, thank you. We'll move on. Under number 8, it's correspondence. 8.1, we have had 2 correspondence for renaming of Cornwallis Street from 2 individuals.
We're just noting that they're there at this point, Your Worship.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Having seen the letters that were included in our agenda package, they do raise some concerns once again about the process that brought the previous council to the decision that currently stands on the renaming of Cornwallis Street. And that's even despite a tied vote in a motion to reconsider at their very last meeting. So as a fresh council, looking to set our strategic direction in the coming months and keen to begin our committee work, you know, with respecting of what happens in committee, I think it's important that we understand what transpired through this process. And also as the council left to see this file on Cornwallis Street through to a successful conclusion of some sort, we want to make sure we're doing what's best for Lunenburg. And so with all that in mind, I'd like to propose a motion. I'd move that we direct staff to prepare a fulsome report reviewing the process, beginning with the now defunct Town of Lunenburg Anti-Racism Committee and its recommendations, and then including all relevant actions taken since then for this council's consideration and direction going forward. There's anyone who'd be willing to second that motion?
There's been a motion put on the floor by the Deputy Mayor. Is there a seconder? Councilor Strong. Okay, is there any discussion on the motion at this time? Okay, does staff have the motion? Are they comfortable with the way you have the motion, Kayla?
Sorry. Yeah, to direct staff, and I did write it down, so I try to get it out right, and to prepare a fulsome report reviewing the process beginning with the now defunct Town of Lunenburg Anti-Racism Committee and its recommendations, including all relevant actions taken since then for this council's consideration and direction going forward.
Okay, so we all understand the motion. Just put on the floor. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed, raise your right hand. Motion carry unanimous. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
Number 9, there are no public hearings tonight, public information meetings or appeals. Number 10, a business arising in unfinished business. There is none of that tonight. Number 11, there are a few items. First item is 11.1, adoption of the code of conduct for municipally elected officials. Kayla, would you like to present first before we?
Thank you. Here tonight for your consideration is the adoption of the Code of Conduct for municipal officials. This initiative stems from regulations established under the Municipal Government Act, requiring that all municipalities and villages in Nova Scotia adopt the standardized code by December 19th of this year. Non-compliance will result in any municipal funding being withheld under the Municipal Grants Act, which outlines several types of funding that municipalities may receive from the province. The development of this code began in January 2022 when a Code of Conduct working group was established. This group was tasked with creating the framework, which included drafting the code, determining sanctions for breaches, and exploring investigator options. Following consultations with municipalities in 2022 and 2023, the group finalized its recommendations, and in October of this year, the province officially introduced the standardized code of conduct, which is being presented to all of you tonight in your agenda package. The code is comprehensive, containing over 40 guidelines organized into 14 categories. These cover areas such as general conduct, handling confidential information, communicating on behalf of council, and interactions with staff. A detailed breakdown of these categories, along with the full code, is included in your agenda package. Further, the code outlines a range of sanctions to address breaches, including formal reprimands, mandatory training, and suspension from roles. Municipalities cannot significantly modify the content of the standardized code. However, they are permitted to add additional prohibitive behaviors. Right now, the recommendation from staff is that council adopt the code through a motion. However, if council wanted to add more to this code, staff's recommendation would be to explore the creation of a policy after the required code has been adopted. Per the code, any individual, whether a resident or not, may file a complaint if they believe a council member has breached the code of conduct. Under the code, each municipality must appoint an independent investigator to handle these complaints. However, staff are currently finalizing this part of the requirement, and a recommendation for appointing the investigator will come forward at the next council meeting. So in conclusion, tonight's recommendation is to formally adopt the code as required by the Municipal Government Act, and then we'll look at the appointment of the investigator at our next meeting. However, alternatively, if council feels like it requires more time for the consideration, the matter can be deferred until December 10th to address both the adoption of the code and the investigator appointment together. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions of Kayla at this time?
Burning question. If we approve the code tonight, it still doesn't apply to us until after the legislation's in place, correct?
So right now,
So I can do my last minute irresponsible stuff in the town.
sorry, through the chair. So technically, the code of conduct is in place and active right now through the Municipal Government Act. So now this is just an administrative step to acknowledge that everyone has read it and agreed with it and have adopted it. So it is technically in full force in the Municipal Government Act right now.
So we've had notice.
Any other comments, concerns, questions? Councillor Grieg?
Through the chair, you mentioned that municipalities have the option of adding other steps or prohibited behaviors. Are you aware of any that have so far?
I'm not aware of any, but if you would like to see some more of that information included for December 10th when they bring this back, I'd be happy to take a look and see what other municipalities are doing if that's on the table for them.
think for myself, I think that would be something that would be interesting, you know, just to kind of get a kind of, I guess, a gauge on what other people are thinking and if there's anything else that might suit our purposes.
Thank you. Anybody else? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, through your worship. Just as a point of reference or information, this is all pretty new to, I think, everybody around this table, except for maybe me, who lived through some of the recognition of a need for a legislation like this. In previous experience on councils, there was a voluntary code of conduct or a code of conduct which we voluntarily undertook, but there were no repercussions for breaches of that code. And that turned out to be problematic. And I know other councils around the province have experienced that as well. So it's a bit daunting and it seems a bit, you know, I think there is potential for it to be problematic if there are, you know, frivolous or what turn out to be frivolous complaints made, and could get expensive if we're paying, you know, an investigator to look into these things. And so hopefully those things don't happen, because I think it's a very important protection and just an important piece of legislation to guide conduct for all elected officials that you hope wouldn't be necessary, but it seems it is. So anyway, thanks. I would move a motion that we adopt the code as we're required to do for our use in future.
Okay, so you're going to move the recommendation in front of us and that council adopt the regulations respecting a code of conduct for municipal elected officials as prescribed by the Nova Scotia Municipal Government Act.
Yes.
That's been moved by the deputy mayor. Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Fullerton. Any further discussion or question? I will add that we were at a training session 2 weeks ago, and this seems to be a bone of contention to a lot of municipal units, because it's a lot more forceful and stricter and a lot more things in there than it's ever been in anybody's own code of conduct that really wasn't enforceable to a certain degree. So everybody has concerns, and I think this is going to be a working document, a moving document that I'm sure every council in Nova Scotia will be coming back and possibly tweaking it or making some changes as we move along, as we experience the pros and cons of it. There will be growing pains, but it's not just this council that's asking these questions right now, because it is quite detailed and it can become very onerous and expensive depending on how it's perceived or used within the community. So again, we do have to pass it because we have to have this in place by December 20th or somewhere around the 19th. So yeah, we really have to pass it and see how it goes. So any other questions or concerns on it? If not, motion, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion carried unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. So 11.2, appointments to partner and external committees. Kayla?
Thanks again. For tonight for council's consideration is the approval of council's appointment list for the Town of Lunenburg's partner and external committees for 2024-2025. A full detailed breakdown of these committees and their descriptions can be found in your agenda package. But in preparation for tonight's decision, councilors were asked to review the committee descriptions and submit their appointment preferences to the mayor. In order to make those recommendations, staff requests that the mayor reads off the list of appointments he has made, and then council can move forward with a motion to officially make those appointments. Should council wish to explore further options, alternatives include altering the list by adding or removing committees, recognizing that your external committees are completely optional and based on your needs and wants as a council. You could refer this item to the committee of the whole for additional discussion, or you could defer this decision for a future meeting. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So everybody submitted their prior or their number one choice, number two, and surprisingly enough, it made it somewhat a little easy because not many of you had to repeat it like number one option. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do there. Probably flip a coin. So we'll start at the top. So trustees of the common lands is Councillor Greek and Councillor Fullerton. And again, when I'm all done this, you guys can say if you don't want to serve on the committee I have you on. Lunenburg County Senior Safety Committee, Councillor Duffney. Lunenburg Cultural Collective Committee, Councillor Strong. Lunenburg Fishermen's Memorial Society, the Deputy Mayor. Harborview Haven, Councillor Strong, and myself. But if they only want one, I'll be the representative and then you'll be the community representative because you're on the board as well. So we'll figure that out with the board, but either way, okay. Lunenburg Waterfront Association is myself, the mayor, and South Shore Housing Coalition is Councillor Babineau. So does everybody have those? Everybody okay with those? Okay, so needs a motion for the council approve the appointment list for the Town of Lunenburg's partner committees and external committees for 2024-25 as presented. Is someone prepared to move that motion?
I just had a question
Oh, sure, go ahead.
before the motion, please. There were some alternates that were named for some of these committees as well.
Yes, there was, and I'll send those out. I just didn't have them on tonight, but I'll send those out because, I mean, you guys were phenomenal. Like you guys, I had multiple people volunteer to be alternates on multiple committees. So that's good to see. So this group seems to want to be very active in the community. So thank you for that, Councillor Fulton. I will say, I'll go down through the list again and I'll try not to be repetitive because we should share the responsibilities. So thank you for that. So if someone prepared to move that motion. Councillor Daphne?
I so move that council adopts the list for the partner committees and external committees for 2024-2025 as presented.
Thank you. It's been moved. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Babineau. Any further discussion or question? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Anyone opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Okay. Number 12, notices of motions, motion requests and council reports. This is going to be our first go around new council. So tonight I'll start to the far left. So Councillor Fulton, do you have anything you'd like to bring up tonight?
Nothing other than previously discussed.
Thank you. Councillor Greek.
I'm all good this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Babineau.
I did want to actually, just in reference to the deputy mayor's request for the information on Cornwallis Street, I am just wondering if we need to make some sort of a motion to defer the work that's currently ongoing to change the street name. Because if we're gonna sort of pause and wait for some information, I think they're still under the directive of the previous council to actually move that forward. So that's what I'd like to do.
I'll refer this to the CAO because I'm not sure how far along we are in any of that at this point, because it was very late in the previous council when things were still being brought up. So I'm not sure how far along we are. So I'll pass this over to the CAO.
Through the chair, certainly if council would like time to consider the information report, thinking that there may be a change of direction that would come about as a result of that information report. I do think it would be wise to give staff clear direction to halt any further action on the project until council has an opportunity to reconsider. So a motion could read such as moved that council direct staff to cease work on the renaming of Cornwallis Street subject to council reevaluation.
And I keep forgetting to say through the chair, so sorry about that. I'm sure I'll get the hang of it. Yes, so through the chair, I would like to put that motion forward, just as you read that off.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Babineau. Is there a seconder? Seconded by the deputy mayor. We should do
Apologies.
the notice of motion first, should we not? this?
Yeah, so this would typically come forward as apologies, as a notice of motion that we could craft this for the next December 10th meeting, which staff would recommend that, letting the public and council an opportunity to see that come forward in the next agenda, which differs from Deputy Mayor
Okay.
Bailey's, because that was an information report, whereas this is a binding motion.
Right, okay. So in that case, yeah, this is just my notice of motion. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, thank you very much. Then we don't need a seconder for that. So great, thank you. Councillor Strong, do you have anything tonight?
Through the chair, nothing.
Thank you. Councillor Daphne?
You bet I do. I'd just like to remind everybody that I adopted a tree for the Light Up Lunenburg, and I'm hoping that the young artists in town and surrounding area help me decorate the tree, and that just a couple of guidelines that it should be not glass, weatherproof, and when attached to the tree, it should be attached with all the might that you can put. My hope is after Christmas to collect the ornaments, or if you want them back, just shoot me an email. I hope to collect them and then give them to Harborview Haven next year at Christmas. And hopefully this becomes a tradition. That's it.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
The Councillor Daphne's comments just kind of reminded me that we're not going to meet again till after, all of the Christmas festivities begin the end of the month. So just a reminder of that, because we are some of us are able to attend for more training and orientation at the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities annual conference that last week of November, which is why our meeting is tonight instead of next week. And that's going to take us right through to come home to all sorts of wonderful Christmas events happening that weekend. So reminder for folks that it is going to be the season. So.
Thank you. And I'd just like to add that I'd like to thank everybody around the table, including the staff here tonight. We've went over well over 200 hours of training as a group easily over the last couple of weeks, and we've had great attendance. Everyone seems to be very excited and enthusiastic about things. And I must say, this is the most training I've ever seen in any time I've ever served on municipal government. And I think that everybody heard everybody the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, COVID played a lot in that, but I will say that, municipal affairs and our staff especially has really stepped up the game. And again, thank you very much. I think the citizens will definitely benefit in the long run for the training we are taking. And there's a few of us going away next week to the NSFM conference, which again will be more training and more learning. So again, thank you very much, everyone around the table, and thank you for staff for organizing everything and bringing in speakers and events. It's been a very educational couple of weeks. So thank you very much. So nothing else under item 12. There's nothing under 13 at this point, because we won't be meeting in committee of the whole until after the holidays, obviously. So basically we're now, we need a motion to move into closed session. Someone prepared to make that motion?
I'm going to move that we move into closed session.
Thank you. So moved by Councillor Strong. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight. Great to have some people come out. It's not that great of a night, so thanks again, folks.